First, a disclaimer: I do not endorse nor do I encourage participation in the events that I'm going to be talking about, just in case there are cops or litigious attorneys in the audience. When we were kids, we made up games all the time. We took the materials at hand, venues at our disposal, adapted the games we loved into games that we loved even more. Some of us truly never grew up, never stopped inventing new ways to, well, see whose was bigger. Throw in some liquid encouragement and you have unsanctioned racing. You're welcome, fellas. Sanctioned races, think triathlon, marathon, etc., become disinfected over the years. Soccer moms, middle management dads, along with insurance companies have taken over. You pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to ride your bike and run in the same streets you trained in for free. But under the rug, in the back alleys and side roads, there's a resurgence of old school, unsanctioned racing. Some are good old-fashioned foot races, some are simply testosterone fests, pissing matches if you will. Some are dangerous, some are silly, some are illegal, most are all the above. There's a reason they'll always be unsanctioned. Typically flying under the radar, unsanctioned racing can sometimes be combined with sanctioned events. Think races within races. A few years back in the River Gorge road bike race, my buddy Trey and I sprinted like madmen for the Georgia State Lions Hunt, just a few miles into a very arduous race. The others thought we were nuts, but it was important to us and important to our kind of people. Unsanctioned racing can go viral. You may have seen the YouTube videos of hipster doofuses with a death wish, running lights and squeezing their fixies in between cabs and buses in New York City, testing their riding skills, and more importantly, the bravado. Alley cat bike messenger racing is unsanctioned racing on steroids. Unsanctioned racing is a world in and of itself. Invites are coveted, and a cabal of sorts keeps the list of privileged few. The Grand Poobah in Chattanooga, one of the ones pictured here, initials JC, not the one on the bracelets. No longer lives here, but his reach is still felt. He's sort of the Warren Jeffs of unsanctioned racing in the area. His magnum opus was the Big Daddy. Starting on top of Lookout Mountain, he biked 50 miles, including the infamous Roberts Mill Road climb on the backside of Signal. Then off of Signal and back up Lookout. This was followed by a heinous 12-mile trail run, descending and then reascending Lookout Mountain. But JC always knew how to make things special. Spam wench awaited riders at the top of Roberts Mill, doling out slabs of potted meat to racers. 1 minute off your total time for each slab that you ingested, and more importantly, kept down. The clock didn't stop until you downed the tall boy Meisterbrow at the finish, thus making it a triathlon. Although no longer with us, David Meek, known for outclimbing most comers with a six-pack of PBR bungeed to the back of his bike, invented the King of the Mountains. This is the elevation profile of my ride a few years back. It looks like an EKG and I could have used one. David did 3 more climbs that day. He would have done more, but his wife called him home to dinner. I created the weekly sewer series for area road bike racers. A 7-mile circuit at Moccasin Bend, hence the name. It had a sprint and uphill finish line on each lap. Turd points were kept and made available via social media. The turd point leader at the end of the year was given the golden plunger. That's not a euphemism, it's an actual plunger. Rod Dixon won a bronze medal at the '72 Olympics. He won the New York City Marathon in '83. Great finish line pick. This Kiwi gets his picture on the big screen because he's the inspiration for so many of us. When asked about his training habits, he said in all seriousness, "All I want to do is drink lots of beer and train like an animal." Enough said. Rod Dixon runs vary somewhat, and there's even been a Rod Dixon mountain bike event. Historically, it's run a mile and drink a beer in a 10-minute period. Then do it again 5 more times. The first one to get to the finish line and chug the last beer and keep it down wins. Oh, and then you go running naked through the Chattanooga Golf and Country Club, though. You don't do that. The beer mile is a relative of the Rod Dixon run, but as the name implies, it's only a mile of running on the track. On each of the 4 laps, a frosty beverage is imbibed. The key is burping as much as possible in case you get invited to one. Carbonation will get you. Sub-6-minute miles are not uncommon in these events, which is quite impressive. Hash House Harriers, self-described as drinkers with a running problem, conduct hash runs periodically. The designated hare lays a trail using these markers, using chalk or flour on the ground to let the hounds know what to do next. Half downs, down downs, on afters, etc. are terms that are used. Of course, they all involve drinking. The Firewater 50 is a very simple event. Ride your mountain bike for 50 miles in the Cohutta Wilderness and then drink some firewater. As you probably guessed by now, it's not that simple. The ride covers some of the hardest, steepest, nastiest 50 miles around, and the firewater is some of the hardest, nastiest stuff you can put in your body. Technology infiltrates every aspect of our lives, including unsanctioned racing. Strava, a GPS-based app for your phone, records your rides and runs, and breaks the results down into segments for you. Not revolutionary. But comparing your results to everybody and their mother on the interwebs makes it a virtual race every time you step out the door. In a thinly veiled attempt at guerrilla marketing, Pearl Izumi now has an unsanctioned website for unsanctioned races. They provide basic supplies like race numbers, finishing line tape, etc. Of course, they get info on the participants and their names splashed off over all the racers. Can't really blame them for trying. But unsanctioned racers are traditionalists if you think of doing stupid crap as a tradition. However, JC, myself, and the other Pied Pipers of stupidity are getting a little long in the tooth. Luckily, there's a new generation of fools taking up the cause. A couple of them here. Two of the culprits, both named Sam, by the way, are setting new standards of shenaniganism in the area. The death card, their term, not mine, was probably one of the stupidest things I've ever participated in. 7-mile uphill run followed by a harrowing descent down a slot canyon filled by a swollen Bear Creek. One of the Sams, unable to determine the safety of the drop into the frothy 30 feet below us, said, "Well, there's only one way to find out." Kerplunk. So, you might ask, how do I get invited to these things? Well, you got to be fit first. No EMTs on the course of an unsanctioned race. Then you have to race hard in sanctioned races. More importantly, have fun out there. Do it with flair, kind of like that idiot. We'll notice, and we'll let you know if you made the cut. Thank you.